We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what the writers of Game of Thrones did to Season 8. It was a good show up until then. What a shame. We're back with another Flat Earth debate. And yes, it is August in 2021. And we're having a Flat Earth debate. What fun. If you haven't been to the channel before, please smash the like button and subscribe so you never miss any of the amazing debates or videos on the channel. Episode 60 of Flirts Are Idiots is incoming very, very soon. That's part 3 of the Eric Dubé level movie debunk. But tonight we have an excellent debate for you. We have TJump, who was on the channel recently, I want to say debating, but more slaughtering Bumpy Earth 420 / Hip Hop Hippie, facing off against Breaking Down the Wall of Lies, who was on Monday talking to Mr. Sensible and had one of the, I think, best conversations, most respectful conversations around Flat Earth that I have heard for a long time. So I'm looking forward to today because TJump, in my opinion, is excellent at breaking down logical arguments and has some great points that haven't really been heard in the Flat Earth arena before. And Breaking Down the Wall of Lies has a lot of points that he wants to bring up. So let's just get straight into this. We're going to start with TJump. We're going to give him 10 minutes or as long as he needs to introduce himself and just give his points for why he thinks the Earth is a globe. TJump, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. The world is totally flat. I can see the debate. You win. World flat. You win. Yeah, so I do philosophy conversations, usually with professors and theists from different colleges about reasons to believe in a God on my channel, youtube.com/TJump. I also have clips of Fight the Flat Earth on my OnlyFans. Just small subscription of $500 to get those.
You did say you wouldn't... Okay, fine.
What?
Nothing.
Hey, I'm a sellout. It's just part of my nature. Yeah, so I think the easiest way for anybody to demonstrate the world is round is through radio waves. Like anybody can build a radio transmitter in their backyard, and you can bounce radio waves off of the moon. Like radio waves work in all kinds of devices. You can build it for a ship, for a plane, for a missile, cars. You can bounce them off anything, buildings, anything you can see to know how far away it is, to know how fast it's moving, to know what its shape is. Radio waves are a very effective, reliable way that is accessible to anyone to measure speed, size, shape, all kinds of different variables with your own technology. You can do this. You don't have to trust anybody else. You don't have to trust NASA. Don't have to trust other people doing the work. You personally can do this. And one of the great things about this is that if you point it towards the moon, you can bounce a signal off the moon and get it back, and it takes about 5 seconds from when you send the signal to when you get the received signal. So if we know how fast radio waves travel, which is close to the speed of light, then we can calculate the distance to the moon, which is about 225 to 250,000 miles away. It changes based on the time of day and where you are on the planet, but it's about a 10 to 13% difference overall. That means that no matter where you are on the planet, and if you bounce the radio signals off the moon, it'll always be at about this distance, like 225 to 250,000 miles away the entire time. But for a flat Earth, this is a problem, because if two people are measuring the distance to the moon, it's the same distance for both of them approximately, no matter where you are, since the moon is always visible every part of the night. So someone can always measure the distance to the moon, and it's always the same distance away. If the moon was traveling in a sphere or like a circle above the surface of the Earth, like the flat earthers say, then the distance to the moon should change. Like if you're directly below the moon, it should be about 1/3 of the distance, as if it's like off in the horizon. But we don't see that. We see it's about the same distance. And it should be closer to a person who's underneath it over there than to you. And so it should be significantly shorter time for the radio waves to bounce off the moon for them than it is for you. But it's not. It takes about the same amount of time for anybody doing this anywhere on the world. So if you understand basic geometry, the result of this is that the world must necessarily be round, because that's the only way to explain the fact that the radio signals take the same amount of time for everyone, everywhere on Earth, at any point in time during the night or day. If the world was flat, then they'd have to be going in a big like W or M shape. bouncing in order to account for that. But even if it was bouncing, then it would still cause some strange phenomenons where in between the bounces, somebody directly underneath the bounce should measure it to be closer, significantly closer. But we never see that. So either there is some magic going on, or the world must necessarily be round, because we can measure the distance to the moon consistently from anywhere, any point at night, and we always get the same number for some reason. There isn't really much ambiguity here, and since anybody can do this in your home for a few, I think it takes like 10 grand to buy a radio transmitter that's powerful enough to receive its own signal off the moon. You can demonstrate for a fact the world is in fact round. This is the simplest, easiest way to do it, and I think that this is the one point that I want to hammer home, and so I'll just stick with that one.
Okay, thank you very much for that, TJump. TJump's link to his channel is in the description, guys, if you want to check him out. He does do some excellent debates. You can also find him quite often on Modern Day Debates over with James. So, yeah, that was TJump and his explanation as to why he thinks the Earth can't possibly be flat. Now, Break, over to you. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself, and then we'll play your video?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to the debate with TJump. I've done a little introduction for you guys in like a computerized voice, saves me reading something for like 12 minutes. So hopefully this gets across some of the points that I'm going to make, and hopefully me and TJump can discuss some of these points after the intro. Hope I don't lose you guys during it. A lot of interesting points. Thank you.
Okay. Okie dokie, right, let me just get that up, and that's what she said. Okay, here we go, guys. This is a 12-minute long video, so take some notes, and here we go.
How I know the Earth is not a globe. Firstly, they tell us that we are spinning at all different speeds depending on where we are on the globe. With the fastest speed at the equator being over 1,000 miles per hour. 3 times the speed of a passenger aircraft, faster than some fighter jets, and 300 miles quicker than the speed of sound. And the only reason we do not feel the spin is because it is a constant speed with too little acceleration or deceleration to feel it. This is beyond deranged to believe this. It is total insanity, yet they tell us it is true. And the solar system. OMG. We are meant to be orbiting the Sun at over 66,000 miles per hour, and we are within the Milky Way that is traveling at over 1.3 million miles per hour. It is total madness. Moving forward. They gave us the measurements for this ball. It has a radius of 3,959 miles with a circumference 24,900 miles. Now, according to the math, we should be able to see curvature at the rate of 8 inches per mile squared. So over a distance of 30 miles looking to the horizon there should be 600 feet of drop, over 50 miles 1,667 miles of drop, and at 100 miles there would be a ridiculous 6,669 feet of drop. Now when we have gone out to find this so-called curvature, it is nowhere to be found. In fact, there are hundreds of observations that show zero curvature for hundreds of miles. There are also at least 10 places on Earth that do not show any curvature and are super flat over hundreds of square miles. High-altitude balloon footage has shown clearly that the horizon rises to eye level the higher up you go with no curvature present, unless they use a fisheye lens which produces strong visual distortion, and turns a straight horizon into a curved one, which is not real, of course. They say the Earth is a globe, and it was measured firstly by Eratosthenes more than 2,000 years ago using a stick, a well and shadows. The Earth must be a globe because there was no shadow at Cyrene and a substantial shadow at Alexandria. This was the assumption of not only Eratosthenes but the famous Carl Sagan, who also worked hand in hand with NASA. In his video of Eratosthenes he said the only answer was the surface of the Earth was curved. Yet you can go and prove this to be completely false on any flat surface with one light source. Do not believe me, go and do it for yourself. You will see that one stick can have a longer shadow whilst the other stick will have no shadow. Not hard to achieve and absolutely not proof of a globe. If you further believe them, they will say that people knew back then that the Earth was a globe. Yet ancient civilizations' cosmologies such as Hebrew, Islamic, Greek, Persian, Chinese, Mayan, Viking, Roman, Egyptian and many more all show a flat Earth with a closed system. Were they all wrong? But Eratosthenes was right. Today they will tell you that they have measured the true size of the Earth using satellites. Yet there is no proof of satellites in geostationary orbit except computer-generated images, and the same is to be said for the images they are producing. It is beyond delusional to believe that these images are actually true live images. There are however hundreds of satelloons that have covered the length and breadth of the Earth over a period of decades, and this is no secret. Yes people, they have been getting launched into the sky as early as 1960, probably much earlier. Is it any wonder that NASA is the biggest purchaser of helium in the world? They have hundreds of pictures and countless videos showing curvature of the Earth, yet very little so-called true images of the whole Earth from a distance. The famous blue marble image that was on every iPhone of the apparent Earth in 2007 was in fact, wait for it, photoshopped by Mr. Rob Simmons, who was a lead data visualizer and information designer, a senior program analyst, working of course for NASA. You guessed it. Let's hear what he actually said about this image. We finally had enough data to make an entire snapshot of the Earth. We wrapped the flat map around a ball. My part was integrating the surface, clouds and oceans to match people's expectations of how Earth looks from space. That ball became the famous blue marble. Let me as a dumb flat earther ask the question that the knowledgeable people like Mr. TJump and the rest of his cronies simply are too scared or point blank refuse to ask. Why exactly did you need to Photoshop the Earth from 4 months of data strips of a flat Earth and stitch it onto a ball? Why didn't you just take a picture of the Earth from one of those billion-dollar super probes that you got out there whizzing and zipping around? You needed to wait 4 months to get data. That is hilarious and, might I add, highly suspect to say the least. You see, this evidence alone and the photoshopped blue marble is enough surely for any sane person to question and say what the hell is going on. And that is not where the story ends. Mr. Rob Simmons went on to put his foot in it again. This time he made an even bigger disaster. He said at a conference, and it's not until you get to about 1 million miles that you see the Earth as this perfect disk against a black sky. Oh boy. Thank you, Mr. Simmons. You see people. He just busted every iconic image for the past 70 years that has been used as a tool to brainwash the masses. He just revealed that every image less than 1 million miles away, of the Earth as a perfect disk against a black background is not real. I know people that argue on behalf of their delusional fairy tale will say that I am taking this way out of context, but I am not sorry to say. You're busted. I said it before and I will say again, it really is game over. There is no squirming out of this. And hey, you can always take some solace out of knowing that although we so-called dumb flat earthers who don't know science all knew that these images were fake anyway, you never had a choice but to believe them to be true. You see, flat earthers pay attention to detail, and the majority of us know the difference between computer-generated images and real ones. It really is that simple. But we are far from finished. They say the real proof of the Earth being a ball is in their video footage from the Discover satellite that is orbiting 1 million miles away. According to them, it has taken a time-lapse of the moon transiting the Earth and the other way around, but then there is the video footage of the Earth doing a full rotation, and guess what? The moon must have been away on its holidays cause it's missing from the full time-lapse. You just couldn't write this, could you? Then there is the International Space Station that is meant to be in orbit 250 miles above the Earth's surface, and that it is traveling in the vacuum of space at 5 miles per second. That is 8 times faster than the fastest jet we have, the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, which hits a top speed of 2,100 miles per hour. Yes, ladies and gents. It works out to be 18,000 miles per hour. And the only reason that the ISS is not ripped apart is that there is no air. There is no drag against its totally non-aerodynamic shape that is the size of a football field and weighs over 400 tons. Hey, no problemo. Right. It's space, we can do anything up there. And docking. Oh yeah, we just pull up alongside and jump on board. It's just like jumping on the merry-go-round but a bit faster. It's space. Hey, it's all good. Look, we sent men who landed on the moon, which they tell us is 239,000 miles away, and might I add, Mr. TJump says we can all build a radar in our own back gardens to prove the distance to the moon and then prove the Earth is a globe. This guy is in cuckoo land. But back to the point. In 1969 we sent men to the moon, and since then another 10 men have set foot on it. But we lost that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again, thanks Don Petty. So we haven't been back to the moon since Apollo 17 mission on the 15th of December 1972, and to date still remains the last time men went out of low Earth orbit. So what have all the space agencies of the world been doing for the last nearly 50 years? I'll tell you what they have been doing. They have been sending out probes and satellites and telescopes into so-called outer space. At the cost of billions and billions. Thousands of millions. Oh, they're picturing the universe and they are looking for life on other planets. Yet we have the same grainy looking ridiculous pictures we had nearly 100 years ago. But in color. Again, if you do not believe me, go look up the images from Mount Wilson Observatory, which was completed in 1917. In fact, go look up the French astronomer Charles Messier, who was cataloguing a diverse range of astronomical objects in the late 1700s. It's amazing, would you agree, that NASA, for all the money, trillions of dollars since their inception, have given us nothing more than pie in the sky? Literally. Oh, but we're going to the moon to build a base. And we're going to Mars from there. It's only 50 million miles away. It's outer space. Hey, no problemo. Hang on. Is there an expected date for this moon base or Mars colonization? I think you all get where I am coming from. It is all complete and utter nonsense, and whilst this fairy tale amuses the masses, everyone is forgetting the fact of the matter. They are destroying our home. You know, Earth. The place we all live. And then we are the ones being blamed for all this. Damn. There is just too many of us, and CO2 levels are a problem. Not the pollutants of the monsters that they have created and have been killing us for over a century now. You know, all the fumes from the millions of vehicles worldwide. The harmful chemicals they have leaked into our seas, the poisonous nitrates into our waterways, then there is the 250,000 tons of nuclear waste. Well, just remember this, folks, it's not me or you that created all this mega pollution. It is them. But that is okay, because we're gonna keep the North Pole a militarized zone, and we will not allow anyone to live in Antarctica. Well, except for the thousands of research staff that are there every year, day in day out. We will make that place a safe zone for the penguins. Do you see how the lies just get thicker, how the truth is just getting harder to find? Yet I am the dumb one for asking all the right questions, and then there is people like Mr. TJump who acts all smart because he knows maths and some physics and a bit of this and a bit of that, but has no real clue as to the bigger picture. You gotta love this guy. I have one question for Mr. TJump. At what age did they tell you that you lived on a flying spinning ball, and did they present you with evidence? Or just show you cartoons?
Wow, that was something. I hope you took notes there, TJump. Thank you to everyone for not having an aneurysm whilst watching that presentation there. What we're going to do now is let the guys just have a conversation. I don't think I will need to moderate as much as, for instance, I did when TJump was talking to Bumpy Earth, because hopefully Break won't just go, show me a container, show me a container, show me a container. But have you shown me a container? But have you shown me a container? Did you ever find the container, TJump?
Yes, it was Bumpy's mom.
Ah, makes sense. Right, we'll let the guys have a chat. After that, I'll read out questions for some Q&A. Just a quick note, YouTube still haven't paid me because of the tax thing, so if you would like to super chat, the best way to do it to help the channel right now is to do it via my PayPal, paypal.me/FTFE. that way also YouTube don't get the 30%. It all goes straight to me. But either super chats or PayPal donations will get read out as super chats and questions. But over to you guys. Go ahead. TJump, I think you should be able to start with the questioning, as we just had to listen to that.
Sure. So I don't know, most of your presentation was about images, but I don't know why the images are important here. Like, even if NASA faked all the images, that wouldn't show the world isn't round. So it doesn't, like, the world was known to be round before there was computers or images or NASA. So I don't know why that was important. You said we don't see curve. Like, you mentioned some areas in the world that are very flat. Like, there can be curve even if you don't see it. There's this really cool photo that or video that Fight the Flat Earth has of them like zooming in on a car and a building and then zooming out, and you don't see curve until it's like really, really big. There can be curve there even if you can't see it. So the inability to see curve isn't evidence that there isn't a curve. You said that the stuff is going fast in space. Like, yeah, like the reason planes go slower is because there's air in the way. It's like it's harder to run when it's windy against you, and it's easier to run when it's windy towards you, and it's easier to run when there's no resistance. That's why they have, like, planes are shaped the way they are, because it's easier. Less resistance means faster. You mentioned that Rob Simmons said that we need to be 1 million miles away to see the disk, see it like a disk with a black background. Like, I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't think it matters. Like, even if that was true, then the world could still be round. So let's just say, even if the pictures are fake, the world could still be round. So I don't think anything you presented actually shows that the world isn't round. I didn't see any evidence in your opening other than that pictures are computer generated. Like, yes, many pictures are computer generated. That's how computers work. The world was round way before then. So I didn't see much in your opening to actually tell us one way or the other. But what I presented was pretty concrete evidence. Like, do you acknowledge that radio waves work? Radio transmitters are a thing. Like, radar is a thing. Do you admit that those work? Do you know those work?
Yeah, I looked into that. I watched your last debate where you raised radio waves. Was it with Bumpy? Yeah, the last one. Yeah.
So
what you were saying about the moon crashing into the Earth, like going overhead, that's just perspective view. So you can actually have even if we are flat and you have a moon that is rotating around us, you can have that in a flat surface. I don't know how you were saying about the moon crashing into the Earth as it came over your head, because that's just perspective view. If you follow the sun, have you ever done any camera work in your life?
Yes.
Okay. So I followed the sun for a full year, and the sun came in from the northeast, the same place it came in the whole time during the summer, and it left in the northwest. So all the sun was doing was circling round a flat hemisphere. That's all it was doing. And it looks to you, if you're underneath the sun, depending on where you're situated on the flat plane, it looks like it's going over your head. And there are some places on the Earth where the sun might be a 90-degree angle above certain areas like the Cyrene and Alexandria. So that doesn't say we live on a globe. I mean, for thousands of years, the constellations, or hundreds of years at least that we know of, those constellations have all moved above us. So if I'm standing on a flat plane and everywhere is flat and things move above me, how does that make us live on a globe? It's nonsense.
So we're on a flat plane and the moon is moving like this, right? This is how it's moving over the flat plane?
That's better. Yeah.
Okay, so if there's a guy standing directly beneath the moon here, the moon's like close to him, right? And like imagine there's a guy here and a guy here.
Yeah.
The moon is closer to the guy here, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's like 3 times farther away from here, right?
Is this the radio waves? Back to the radio waves. Well, let me point something out. Yeah. If I can just interrupt because I watched all that.
Go for it.
So see your 10% difference. Do you know what that equates to?
25,000 miles.
15,000 miles, approximately. The figures you gave was 250,000 miles. So that works out to be 50,000 miles. Sorry, 15 15,000 miles is a 10% difference.
10% of 250 is 25.
Oh, sorry, you gave it in kilometers. Yeah, I've converted it to miles. Yeah, it was kilometers.
I'm in America. I only do miles.
That's okay, yeah. So you gave 250,000 kilometers distance to
Sure.
the moon. Yeah.
Sure.
So that was 25,000 kilometers, and then I converted that to miles, which is approximately 15,000 miles. So
Sure.
on your flat Earth, I'll show you this, because I didn't know you were going to use this, but I had watched your last debate.
Why does the miles matter? Like it's 10%. 10%.
Yeah, that's big though. Yeah, I'll show you.
Why?
You were showing the up and down distance from the moon. That's irrelevant. So if that moon stays at the same distance up and down, but moves in a circular fashion, I'll just show you.
Wait. So that was not quite the argument. So the argument is that if you're standing here, it's not. So I don't think you're understanding the argument here. Let me see if I can explain it to you a little bit more. So no matter where you are, if you're standing here or here or here or here or here, just anywhere on the flat Earth, right? No matter where you are, the moon will always be 225 to 250,000 miles away. So it's about this, it's always 200, always the same distance. No matter where you are, no matter where you measure it, at any point in the night, it's always the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So the distance up and down.
This is what leads into the why it can't be flat. So
yeah,
now remember,
that's
if the moon is here, the distance to this guy is like 1. Let's say
it's a red herring because
wait. Let me try to explain it first. So this guy is 1. It's 3 times as far away. So this isn't 10%. This is 300%. So this is 300% further away. So if the moon is moving like this, it gets 300% further away from this guy than it is from this guy. That means the time that it's going to take for the radio waves to bounce off the moon is going to be 3 times longer for this guy to hear his own signal than for this guy. So it's not, I'm not just like measuring it when I'm directly above it. This is at any point in night, wherever this moon is in the sky, anywhere ever.
You're actually proving a flat Earth. Thanks very much. I'll show you how.
Okay, but wait. Yeah. So 1 second.
Yeah, you're proving a flat Earth.
Right, let TJump finish his point.
And if the moon is going like this, then one person is going to measure a 3 times longer measurement on the radio waves. But we never, ever see that. It doesn't happen. It's always 1 to 1, which means it has to be the same distance away the entire time. It never goes like 3 times further away. So I don't know what you're not understanding about that. You said you wanted to.
You have the bowl calculations as radius of 3959 miles, correct?
You don't need any of that. This isn't about.
No. You've made your point. Now let me show you how you're wrong.
Okay.
So you've said about radar, okay, and you very cleverly said, but failed. You should have missed the 10% out because the 10% works out to be 15,000 miles of difference, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. So you've got your bowl with a radius of 3959 miles. How many times does 3959 miles go into 15,000 miles?
5,000. 4,000.
No, not 5,000. No.
3 point something. How long?
No, 3,959 miles into 15,000.
Oh, 5.
Approximately. So basically what you've just showed is that difference of the moon could easily be the moon circling the Earth and you getting the difference of 10% in radius. Thank you. You proved the flat Earth, not a globe.
No,
that's correct. You got it wrong.
Remember, so if the moon is going around in the way you said, like this, right? This is what you said. Then it's going to be 3 times farther away from this point than this point. Is that correct?
How many times did you say, hold on, how many times did you say 3959 goes into
5,000, 5,000, whatever.
yeah, approximately 5.
So that's not 300%.
So see the radio waves that you're talking about, that might show the difference of distance from one side to the other on a flat plane. How does that prove a globe?
One side of what? So
hold on, you're on a flat surface. The moon circles the flat surface. You said you get the radius of your globe, apparently, is 3959 miles. Radius.
The radius doesn't, you're not measuring radius. There's no radius measurement here.
No, but you're on about how do we get exact same, but with a 10% difference. So you want to trick people into saying that up and down matters. Sorry, you've got to take into account that as well.
No. What I'm asking is, why do we never see the moon is 3 times further away for one person than another? So that's the question. The question
but we see it like a mirror image from one area to another, as if it's a flat disk that is seen from the southern hemisphere as different from the northern hemisphere. Why do we see that then? It's upside down.
What is
What's that all about?
So my question is why do we never measure the moon to be 3 times further away? You measure it 10%. It's 10% further away.
Well, I have to say, what you're actually doing here is you're proving that we live in a flat plane by your actual your mathematical formula there. Yeah, you don't get it. I know you don't get it. But if you're on a flat plane and the moon circles round, you're getting a difference of 10%. So that's 15,000 miles, okay? So from one end to the other, when it goes over here, circling here, you're going to have a difference of mileage, correct?
Is 10% more or less than 300%?
What does that matter?
So see the little dot thingy? This is one distance. This is three distances. So this is 10%. This is 300%. 10%, 300%.
According to the radius of the globe? No, it's not.
This is flat.
Exactly.
This is a flat object.
But radius needs to come into it because we're dealing with not just up and down, we're dealing with across the way. So how does radio waves weigh 10%, which is 15,000 miles of difference from one end to the other? Of course it makes a difference.
Okay, forget the globe. Forget Earth. We're not talking about Earth here. We're talking about this piece of paper and nothing but this piece of paper.
No, let's talk about Earth. Let's not talk about just a piece of paper.
You're not understanding the problem, so we got to get rid of the Earth. So just this piece of paper. This is a camera lens. This camera lens is one distance from here, but it's 3 distances from here. It's much farther away from this side than this side, right? Right?
Yeah, we'll talk with your piece of paper, but I'd rather stick to the Earth. Okay, carry on.
So if the camera lens is going like this around the piece of paper,
we're on the paper, not up in the sky.
Yeah, we're on the paper.
Yeah.
So we're standing, and so if it goes around here, it gets closer to this guy, and farther away from that guy, then closer to this guy, right?
Mm.
And it gets a lot closer. So this is 3 times, 300% farther away than this, correct? So this guy standing right here.
There's a difference.
By 300%. Does that make sense?
I don't know where do you want to tell me how you're getting the 300% difference?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, go on. Go ahead.
So you see, here is the little camera lens. It is this far away, like 1 finger length. Now it's 1 finger length, 2 finger length, 3 finger length.
Yeah, and your 10%, and your 10% of difference with the radio waves answers that, or it actually answers it on a flat Earth.
Is 10% more or less than 300%?
10% is less.
Yes. So if there's 10% difference, is this much, right?
But hold on. Let's get back to the actual measurements of your globe. Okay.
So the numbers, the percents get all of the numbers right. So the percents are what matters. We don't care about the numbers. We care about the
hold on a
percents.
minute. Hold on a minute. You're 10%. How can the percents get all the numbers right when you said there was a 10% difference, which is 15,000 miles, when we only have a radius of 3,959 miles on your globe? That goes into, let's just see. Yeah, I know what you're saying, and it might sound absurd to you, but the difference of 10%, the difference of 10% is exactly would show a flat Earth, not a globe. So what are you confused about? I don't get you. This 300% is just you timesing 100, 100, 100. That's, I mean, where's your? I don't get that.
Oh, okay, so let's
Do
say.
you not understand that difference that you said yourself, a 10% difference is 3,959 miles going into the 15,000, which would answer your question. Why you're getting the difference?
No, it's. I'm not asking why we're getting a difference. I know why we're getting a difference. My question is why isn't the difference 300%? So 300% of 250,000 miles is 75,000 miles. So that's 750,000 miles. So it's right. So 300 is 3 times. So like
750,000 miles. Why are you using the distance up instead of the distance along? Why do you choose to keep using that? Yeah.
The distance
hold on. If something stays at the same height, okay,
yeah,
and moves that way,
yeah,
is it not the distance from there to here, okay? As in, yeah?
Yes, that's the distance we're talking about. Like we're not talking about the distance up. We're talking about the distance between the moon and the person measuring it, wherever they are. So it could be up, it could be to the right, it could be to the left. We're not saying up. We're saying in any direction.
Right. And you're saying it's only 10% instead of 3. I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. You said you.
Oh, God, thanks.
Oh, yeah, I get it now. I get it now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh.
Right. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same.
Let him go.
Okay, go on. Carry on.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So you've done the maths for this. You said that you built one of these radars in your back garden.
University of Minnesota. I didn't build it. University of Minnesota.
You what? Sorry.
It was at the University of Minnesota, so I built it with college kids.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because you did say to everyone they could build a radar in the back garden. And I looked up the price of these stuff. You need a transmitter, a receiver, an oscilloscope to measure the wave distance, blah, blah, blah. Thousands of pounds, really. You know, if you wanted to get proper stuff to take these measurements, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it said in the intro it was like $10,000 to be able to do this. $10,000. That's 4 times less than the laser gyroscope the other flat earthers bought.
Yeah. So what distance is the ionosphere? And what wave frequency goes through the ionosphere, or what wave frequency gets? Very high frequency. So your measurements to the moon, you say, are like bouncing back. So how is it that it's not the ionosphere that's just bouncing them back?
Because if it was the ionosphere, it would bounce back in any direction you pointed it, but it only bounces back when you point it to the moon. Because the ionosphere is in every direction.
Is the moon inside the ionosphere or outside the ionosphere?
I'm not sure. Ionosphere.
It's outside. I'll inform you. Yeah, it's outside the ionosphere. Yeah. Okay. So the ionosphere. How can we trust you or anyone else for that matter that says that you're actually bouncing it off the moon when the same signals bounce back off the ionosphere? And we've used that.
Because they don't.
Yeah, they do though. They do.
When you're using very high frequency waves and you point it in any direction in the sky where the ionosphere is, you will not get a signal back. It won't bounce back. It'll only bounce back if it hits the moon or if you point at the moon. It doesn't bounce back in any other direction.
So
if you're using very low frequency, then it'll bounce back off the ionosphere, but not very high frequency.
But the point I'm making is, how do you know that? So you're telling me that only VHF, they go through the atmosphere, they go through the ionosphere, and they hit things like planets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is this how they measured the distance to Jupiter and Saturn and all these other planets? They just bounce radio waves up there.
No, those are too far away.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, so you said that radio waves travel at the speed of light?
Almost, very close.
Ah, right. So it's not actually a speed of light. I was going to say, I don't know how you could get, is that a sound wave?
No, it's a electromagnetic radiation.
Right. Okay. So you think that this proves that by bouncing a radio wave, which no one is going to build because it's thousands of pounds, so we can't verify that, but we can take the word of a university or a space agency.
I don't ever want you to take the word of a university or a space agency. So this is like, there are many people who can afford $10,000. Like if all of the flat earthers pooled their money together, they could build like a number of these, like the laser radio gyroscope that the flat earthers bought. You could sell that and build 4 of these, test them in 4 different locations. So you have the money to test this yourself. I don't want you to trust NASA. I don't want you to trust the university. I don't want you to trust me. I want you to have something that you can do yourself. Now, you may not have the money to do it right now. That's fine. If you pooled your money on like a Patreon with the other flat earthers, you could totally do this. But I just want to give you the opportunity to do something that you can do on your own, so you don't have to trust anybody else.
So have you ever, obviously you're on about this very costly way of obviously proving the earth is a globe. Have you ever went out and done any long distance observations yourself? You've got a camera, I take it.
Sure, but whether or not we see curve doesn't matter. Like there can be curve even if we don't see it. So what we see isn't evidence one way or the other.
But if the ball has a radius of 3959 miles with a circumference of 24,900 miles, that works out to be 8 inches per mile square. So if we stand at point A and look out over the land or the water, surely at 30 miles, we should be seeing 600 foot a drop. 50 miles, it goes up to, 1,600 foot a drop. And then at like 100 miles, it's 6,000 foot a drop. So why is it that long distance observations that have been done, hundreds of them, all show no curvature? And yet you yourself personally haven't even bothered to go out and do that.
Because humans and human eyes are stupid. Human eyes have illusions.
Right.
No, I don't mean like you. I mean literally every single human brain.
I know.
Like all our eyes have hallucinations, delusions, misconceptions all the time. These are not trustworthy metrics. So we need something that is trustworthy. There can be curve even if you don't see it. So our eyes are not reliable.
So you say don't trust our senses, yet you want to trust scientists and people who say that you live on a flying spinning ball, but there's no proof or evidence of it. Because let me ask you a simple question. Let's see if you can answer honestly.
Just before you do break, I just need to go and take a Riley. I'll be back in 2 minutes. You guys just carry on, okay?
Go ahead. So Mr. TJump, if you go and stand on a roundabout, okay, just a kiddie's roundabout, and get that spinning at 1 miles per hour, okay, it's very, very small amount. Close your eyes. I would suggest that you go and do this. Close your eyes, stick your hands out, and let me see if you eventually become out of balance. Then I would say put that up to 5 miles an hour. Do the same again. Close your eyes, stick your hands out. On a kiddie's roundabout, that's a dead easy one. Guess what? It doesn't cost thousands of dollars like the radio waves or anything like that. You don't even need to buy a camera for this. I would put this to you for an experiment, okay? If you know how to do a proper experiment, do you? You know all the stuff?
Sure.
Okay. So what you want to do
let me answer your question. So let's take a kiddie's roundabout and let's put it in an airplane will you feel any difference from spinning on the kiddies roundabout on the ground or spinning on the kiddies roundabout in the airplane, or will it feel the same?
Well, let me get back to that, but just to finish off what I'd like to do for you to help you understand that what you believe is totally ridiculous. It's cuckoo. It's insane. So get on that kiddies roundabout, film yourself, put your camera up there with its tripod, get someone to put it round at 1 mile an hour, hands out, eyes closed, see if you fall over. Then do it at 5 miles an hour, then put it up to 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour and 20. Mr. TJump, I'd love to see what happens to you. And yet you want everyone to believe that they're on the outside of a flying, spinning ball at 1,000 miles per hour, and forget your tangential speeds because they're irrelevant. And also, when we look up in the sky, we've got the Earth that spins 1,000 miles an hour west to east. That's what you tell us. That's what you believe. That's what the scientists are saying. And yet we see the clouds traveling in all different directions. Yeah, all different directions, not following the spin of the Earth. And we're meant to believe that we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. Yet you couldn't go on a kiddies roundabout and stand at 5 miles an hour without becoming off balance. So you see, that's how I know I don't live in a flying, spinning ball. And that's how I know that you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. It's straightforward. And it doesn't matter all the mathematical formulas because they have to comport to reality. Okay.
Sure. So let's take your kiddie roundabout example. If you're on a kiddie's roundabout in your backyard and you spin it, you'll lose balance at 5 miles an hour or whatever. Now, if you take a kiddie's roundabout and you put it on an airplane going 600 miles per hour, will the speed that you lose balance be higher or lower or the same?
You'll still lose balance all the same because you're spinning. Yeah, the human body is not designed. It has a vestibular system. There's people that suffer from different disabilities that they feel off balance.
Yes.
Well, guess what? I don't suffer from that. I'm thankful I don't suffer from that. But that tells me, you see, that I'm not in a flying, spinning ball. Even the human body is made to know the difference.
Wait, so you lose your balance on the kiddies roundabout in your backyard, and if you're on an airplane going 600
I still lose my balance.
Right, it'll be the same. So
yeah.
If you're,
what's that to do with anything?
So if you're on a really, really big plane, like, I don't know, the Earth,
yeah,
it would be the same, right?
How would it be the same?
It's the same on the ground as in an airplane, so it'd be the same.
So do you have an answer? Do you have an answer why, if we are spinning, you believe that the atmosphere is traveling at the same speed as the ground, correct? Yeah? Enclosed system, 1,000 miles per hour. So the atmosphere is traveling the same as the ground speed.
Close, not necessarily it changes direction. It goes in lots of different directions.
So could we say that they're both, so could we say that us standing at the equator over 1,000 miles per hour and the atmosphere traveling at 1,000 miles per hour is approximately the same speed?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. So why then do we not see everything flying west to east to follow the rotation of the Earth? That's a problem. We see clouds. Look, everybody just look up in the sky from day to day. Look at the clouds traveling in all different directions. They're not being dragged along with the 1,000 mile per hour rotation. Would you agree?
Sure, because there's...
So why is that not happening?
Because of temperature differences and pressure differences that cause it to go in different directions. Like,
as Wetsuit would say, this is getting weird.
Wind is getting weird?
No, I said, as Wetsuit would say, this is getting weird. You don't have an answer. You do not have an answer at all for
my answer
why.
Was wind.
Sorry?
My answer was wind. Wind
no,
is the answer.
No, what I'm saying is, yeah, we have wind directions, and lots of different wind directions.
Yes.
But according to your model, if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, everything should be getting dragged. Are you telling me that a wind, hold on, are you telling me that a wind at 40 miles an hour that's heading northwest is not going to be dragged along with a west to east 1,000 miles per hour? Of course it is. So that's bonkers.
No, because there could be different temperatures, which means different pressures. There could be like mountains can help it move along, helps the wind move along and stops it from going different directions.
Yeah.
Wind isn't determined entirely by the rotation of the Earth. It's determined by lots of other things.
You're good at maths. What's faster? A 40 mile an hour wind or a 1,000 mile per hour wind?
1,000 mile per hour wind.
Yay, well done. So
where's the 1,000 mile an hour wind?
That would drag your little 40 mile an hour wind or your smokestacks. There's pictures and videos of smokestacks going straight up. They're not being affected by the spin of the Earth. They're not being dragged round by the atmosphere at 1,000 miles per hour.
Have you ever been in an airplane?
Of course I have, yeah.
Okay, and you know those little like spinny things at the top that blow air on you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And have you ever had a cigarette on an airplane? I know they're not allowed.
No, we're not allowed cigarettes. No.
But if you have a cigarette in an airplane, like the smoke goes straight up, even though you're traveling at 600 miles an hour, right?
It doesn't matter. It's an enclosed system.
So it's the Earth?
Yeah.
That doesn't answer the question.
So is the Earth an enclosed? If the Earth was an enclosed system, would that be able to answer why there's wind?
Absolutely not. Not when you're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. No.
So if the plane was going at 1,000 miles per hour, would the smoke not go up?
But listen, I get what you're trying to say, but isn't it funny how all globals need to take you away from your feet on the Earth and put you in a vacuum or an aeroplane? No, let's just deal with you and me standing on the Earth. Is it correct that you believe, mentally defective, that you are spinning, if you go to the equator, that you are spinning at the speed of 1,000 miles per hour?
Relative to the entire planet in the solar system, yeah.
That's nothing to do with anything now you're trying to take away for the point. That's just a red herring. You're still going at 1,000 miles per hour, correct?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes, like...
Yeah. Do you realise how insane that is to believe that?
How fast do bullet trains go?
No, what? I'm not Superman. Bullet trains?
Yeah.
What's a bullet train to do with your 2 feet standing on the outside of a bowl, spinning at 1,000 miles per hour? What's a bullet train?
You wanted it standing on the ground, not in the air.
Do you want to take a bullet train in a vacuum and in an airplane now, or do you want to just keep to the subject?
You said you wanted things on the ground, so let's go with a bullet train instead of a plane. A bullet train goes at like 250 to 300 miles an hour. So if you are smoking a cigarette in a bullet train, will the smoke go up exactly the same as if you're standing on the ground?
You're totally in an enclosed system. There is no way there is no way that represents you standing on the outside of a bowl at 1,000 miles per hour.
Wait. So imagine the train is going in a big circle like around Sweden. It's a very, very big circle. Would that cause the smoke to go in any different direction? Would
you be getting centrifugal force at any point? Would it be like drawing you? Would you be getting flung off this ball?
Ball, like it's a track. So the track just goes in a big circle.
Well, what we're talking about is the Earth being a ball, correct? Yeah.
Sure. So I'm asking you, if we're on a bullet train on a flat, we can just assume the world's flat.
Why are you trying to put us in a train again? We're not in a vacuum. We're not in a train. Why would you try and put us in there? I know it's a clever thing to try and put us in a train.
The reason I'm trying to explain this is because you keep saying we're going at 1,000 miles per hour and we don't feel the spin. Okay, so let's see is there another way we can go 1,000 miles per hour and not feel spin? Yes, there is. If we're in a bullet train and we're going 1,000 miles per hour over a very big loop, we can be turning and not feel it at all.
So let me take you out your bullet train. Let me stand you back on the earth at 1,000 miles per hour. Do you feel the slightest wind?
Not if the wind is going with you, like if you're in a bullet
No, do
train.
you? Don't know. So do you feel wind
Not at the moment.
on a breezy day? If
Yes.
you're in your house, you're enclosed, you're protected, okay? So, but outside, where you say we're spinning, that you'd have to be absolutely unintelligent to think that you wouldn't feel the spin of 1,000 miles per hour, faster than a fighter jet, faster than the speed of sound. And wait a minute, you only don't feel this because you don't accelerate or decelerate, correct?
We don't feel it for the exact same reason you don't feel wind in a train. Those are the same.
We're not in a train, though. Yeah, we're not in a train.
We are, because the gravity binds the air to the earth, just like the container binds the air in a train.
So gravity, you've mentioned gravity. What is gravity? Do you realize that gravity's never, if you go onto Google, do your search, go and find if they've ever found proof of gravity. They've never.
Yes, they have.
Would you like to provide your proof?
Yes. The first proof was discovered by Einstein when he measured the curvature of light around the sun in 1968. That was the first example.
What's a light in the sky? A light in the sky prove gravity? What? That's rubbish. How does that prove gravity?
So Einstein said, here is my theory of gravity. If this theory is correct.
Yeah, theory.
So this is how science works. If you think something is true, then you predict what you're going to see if the thing is true. It's like if there are unicorns, I expect to find a unicorn. So Einstein said, if my theory of gravity is correct, we'll be able to measure the curvature of light from a star behind the sun. Bending around the sun, we'll be able to see it early, before it's actually from past the behind the sun. So there's like the stars in the sky, the sun goes in front of the stars, and his prediction was that we would be able to see the star from behind the sun because the light curved around the gravity of the sun. That's the first proof of gravity, that we've discovered, his gravity.
It's ridiculous. It's just another one of those so-called clever scientific somebody observing something to happen and then it proves gravity. It's ridiculous. It's totally absurd. Because as a human being, you're looking all there dumb, but it's just because you do not understand or you choose to ignore the facts. That
if there was a tornado,
you cannot stand on a roundabout. You can't stand on a roundabout at 1 mile an hour, 5 mile an hour, 15, without getting off balance. But we're spinning on a globe at 1,000 miles per hour. Oh, sorry, take us into a vacuum or take us into a train.
Let's go back to your roundabout example.
Take us into a train.
Yeah, so let's go back to your roundabout example. Let's say we put you on a really, really, really big roundabout, but obviously we're going to put some container around you because we don't want you to suffocate. So
speed ain't going to change anything. The size of that is going to change nothing at all. Because as long as it is traveling at the same speed, what does that change? Nothing.
So roundabout, we're on the outside of the roundabout. It's really, really big. Let's say it's like a 10,000 miles big. Let's just say
it's the Earth and it's got a radius of 3,959 miles. Try that big roundabout.
Let's just go with a few thousand miles. So it's a few thousand miles. You're in a container on the outside of a roundabout and it's traveling at 500 miles an hour. That's exactly like a train, isn't it? Because a train going in a big circle would be the exact same thing, wouldn't it?
Let me ask you a question, because you don't seem to be getting this, do you? You always want to put us inside a container, okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want the air around you to go at the same speed you are.
Yeah, so we feel wind in this container that you keep saying, okay?
Yeah, like the fan on the airplane, we feel wind.
Yeah, this ball is still spinning at 1,040 miles per hour at the equator, yet we have lots of vectors in the sky all moving in different directions, and none of them are moving west to east to follow the spin of the Earth. And if we hover a drone up in a stationary position, you know, that's out with the ground. It's not moving with the atmosphere because we're controlling it. The ground's not moving under our feet. The sky's moving. How do you explain that?
Wind. Like all of the wind is exactly like the fans in an airplane. Fans in an airplane don't go the same direction as the airplane, do they?
No, listen. I just removed the ground from beneath the drone. I kept it stationary. And oh, guess what? If I look down, the ground's not moving. But the sky is. Sorry, your globe's busted. Good night.
No, you can fly
yeah,
a
it's
miniature
as simple
drone.
as that.
Wait.
Yeah.
Listen. So we can fly a miniature drone in an airplane, and the fan can be blowing, and you can have it stood above your head.
Here we go. In a plane again. Yeah, we always need to take us into a vacuum.
No. I gave you an example before without a plane. I said, okay, so flat Earth. If the flat Earth, here's the moon. 3 times further away from here.
Back to the radio waves. Yeah, thousands of pounds, guys. You can all build this in your backyard, but he never built it in his backyard. You went to a college and did that. Yeah.
Forget building it. If we measured, just imagine you built it. If we measured that the moon is never 3 times further away, would that show that the world is definitely not flat and the moon is definitely not doing this?
Listen, you're busted there with a drone. Okay, and a drone don't cost thousands of pounds. I don't need to go and rely on the scientific community. Where's your proof?
So
where's your proof?
Could you answer the question? So if
Where
you
is
imagined,
where is your proof? Where is your proof?
So answer.
Yeah.
Answer
Don't start that. Don't start that.
Answer the question. So if you could measure the moon, doesn't matter if you can or not. We know you can. You can build yourself.
Blah.
If you could measure the moon, and it will never get 3 times further away ever. You'll never measure it as 3 times further away. Does that disprove your hypothesis that the moon is doing this?
No, it doesn't prove anything of what I've been talking about. You're on another imagination about radio waves.
You said the moon goes like this around the Earth, correct?
Okay. Do we? And I'll say this: do we have I've only got your word to take for this, correct? Yeah.
No. I gave you a method that you could build yourself, so you don't have to take my word at all.
Oh, for thousands of pounds, I can build this.
I don't care about the thousands of pounds. Imagine
Did you build it
head,
yourself? Did you build it yourself?
So the proof here is in your imagination. I want you to imagine in your brain.
You're imagining it. We're not going to get locked down in an argument. No,
break. Hold on. Going backwards and forwards here. The fact that what Tom is saying is that it's not just something that you can do yourself, but it's been done by multiple people, and it can be done if you've got the funds. You know, just saying I don't have the money so I can't do it, therefore it's fake, isn't really a rebuttal to the fact that what Tom is saying has been done hundreds of thousands of times.
Well, I want to go with just something that, like, this piece of paper. Like, obviously, I'm doing it right now. So I'm doing this right now. If we never ever measure this camera lens, it will never get 3 times further away from this side than this side. And that disproves it can't be doing this, correct? You cannot do this.
I'm going to try and answer that, but I'm not going to get stuck. I know how you work this, Tom, because I've watched your debates where the people, you try and hang people up on one thing and then you look like this. As if that person, listen, it's a great debate tactic, but it doesn't work with me. I'm not fooled. You did it with Wetset. You hung him up on one point and you kept straddling the point. Listen, you have not got an answer to anything I've asked you, but now you're back to your radio waves. Let me put a point forward here. I
answered everything you asked.
Craig said it's been done hundreds of thousands of times, okay? This point you're making. Is it true that in my opening introduction, I said that curvature had been filmed of the Earth hundreds of times?
I don't know. I wasn't listening that closely.
Oh, okay. Well, why should I listen to anything you're saying if you weren't listening that closely? But let me finish the point.
It was, to be fair, Break, it was a lot of information in that video.
So they finished let me finish the point. So they filmed curvature hundreds of times. Does it make it real? No, it doesn't exist. It's a flat horizon.
Okay.
So Tom, I couldn't give a damn what you are talking about right now as regards your radio waves, because it doesn't matter if they did it 1,000 times. If they've got a bias and they want to prove a point, then that's what they're doing. The same as the curvature
so
of the Earth.
Experimenting doesn't count.
Yeah, of course it does.
Okay, I don't care about how many experiments they did. What I want to know is if you did this experiment, if you personally did this, just imagine someone donated you 10 grand and you could build this in your backyard.
Not interested in that.
That's fine. I don't care if you're interested. We're saying, imagine if you did this. Imagine if you were interested. So you measured the moon, and it's never 3 times further away. Never ever 3 times further away. Does that prove that it's not doing this?
Look, I haven't got the data. You're asking me. There's the funny face again. Let's hang us up on one point because you've lost on every other point, and bring us back to your point.
Break. Let's not do the claiming victory thing, because that's not how this works. TJump has responded to all your points, and he is just trying to answer another one of your points by going back to what he has said. So just, please don't do the whole, oh, well, you lost these, because you didn't answer, because he did answer. You just didn't believe what he said. So just try and interact with the conversation rather than just claiming victory, if that's okay.
He keeps asking the same question over and over again. I haven't got that data. I haven't got the resources to come up with that data for myself. And I've not seen any information that would make me think other than I think already. Okay.
So what I'm saying is, if you had the data and the data said it was never 3 times further away. So imagine you did the experiment. Imagine you got the data and the data said it's never, ever 3 times further away. Does that prove that the moon is not doing this? That's the question.
I cannot say one way or the other. How can I say one way or the other unless I've got that? I mean, you're asking me to hypothetically answer a question because I haven't got that data. I know what the point you're trying to make. Does it just mean it's not doing this? I mean, but Tom, you said it was doing this, crashing into the Earth.
He said it would be based on the data that we have.
That's what Tom was making.
Let me just try and explain what Tom is saying in another way quickly, right? What Tom is saying is that we can measure from wherever we are on the moon, wherever we are on the Earth, we can measure the distance to the moon to within 10%, based on wherever you are on the Earth, okay? And it's always going to be within that 10%, roughly about a quarter of a million miles away. If you were on the flat Earth and the moon maintained the exact distance from you within 10% all the time, that would mean, because of geometry, it would have to be crashing into the Earth. Because the distance, unless the moon is, on your model, also quarter of a million miles away, but then where does it go when it goes underneath the Earth? So the fact that it remains within that 10% distance from wherever you are on Earth when you measure away from it means that it can only be in a circular position around you, not above you going in a circle. Because that would be the distance between the 10% and the 300% that Tom was talking about.
I get what he's saying, Craig, but I haven't got that data. And I know he's asking if I had the resources to build one of these, and would that prove something to me? Of course, if the information was correct and the data was correct, I would need to rethink things. Of course I would. I'm not. Yeah,
perfect. That's all I was asking.
Hold on. But I haven't got the data. I haven't got the equipment to do that. I would need to look into everything as regards radio waves first and foremost. I'd need to eliminate any other things, like I mentioned, the ionosphere, if it's not just bouncing back from that. Yeah, I would need to do all that. But yeah, that's a valid point, what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I was asking. So if you did do that,
okay,
like because people like me and Fight the Fire have done this, so we have a good reason to reject the flat Earth position. Like reject your arguments about the wind, because this data seems to show really well that the world is round.
No, because hundreds of long distance observations show that it's perfectly flat. Yeah, it's got hills and valleys, but the long distance observations, we just see too far. There is no curvature. High altitude balloon footage as well is just fisheye lens most of the time that gives a curve instead of the flat horizon, you know.
Can there be curve if you can't see it? Can there be curve that's so small you cannot see it?
Yeah, of course there could be.
So doesn't that just refute everything you just said?
But not when you go to the ISS live and they show you the big curve and it's all fisheye lens. And they show you the whole hemisphere of the
fisheye lens, like you just said.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm making. And then they show you the full hemisphere of the Earth that was busted by Rob Simmons. And
who cares about the ISS? The ISS doesn't have anything to do with
the ISS is one of the methods that NASA used to brainwash the rest of the world into believing we live in a ball. That's
nice. I didn't bring up the ISS in time in the debate, so that's not. I don't care about the ISS. That's not relevant.
It doesn't matter if you brought it up or not. I'm bringing it up. What do you think about all the fisheye lens curvature that NASA shows?
Fisheye.
I don't care.
Like, you don't care.
Whether they show fisheye lens or no lens, it makes no difference to the shape of the Earth. Like the lenses they use doesn't change the shape of the Earth. It's there regardless of what NASA does.
So did you watch the Red Bull jump?
Nope. Actually,
you didn't watch that either.
I might have seen
Felix Baumgartner. This is the Earth out there, and it shows the whole of Mexico is like a third the size of the Earth with a curve. You didn't watch that?
So I might have seen that a long time ago. But remember, there can be curve even if you can't see it, right? So it doesn't matter if you can't see it. Doesn't matter.
Let me ask you a question. If I show a child hundreds of images that show curvature when it's actually a fisheye lens and it's a flat horizon, will that child go on to believe that the Earth is curved? Simple question.
Maybe. I don't really know.
It's not a maybe. It's not a maybe. It's a yes.
Images you show to a child is not evidence of the shape of the Earth. Like this is not evidence the world is flat. Saying people show pictures to kids is not evidence the world is flat.
But if it's in every book and magazine it's taught in schools, and from primary school they throw a blow-up globe to children and they say, "Where do you live?" And they point where they live. Is that not brainwashing children into believing they live in a ball?
Even if they were brainwashing, that isn't evidence it's not a ball. Like brainwashing, governments doing brainwashing is not evidence that the world is flat. There's no connection between those 2 points.
You're not getting the point, though. Is that not what they've done to school children? When did you first believe? Hold on. When did you first get presented with that you lived on a globe?
I have no idea. What does this have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Because, Tom, they're brainwashing people into thinking they live on the globe. There is no proof or evidence.
What does that have to do with the shape of the Earth? The fact that the governments brainwash people does not mean the world is flat. So governments brainwashing people, not evidence of flat Earth.
And it's not evidence of the globe, correct?
It's not evidence. It's not evidence of anything. Pictures are not. Pictures on the internet are not evidence.
Let me ask you a question before we get hung up on a point. So, see all them things you see going about in the sky, lights in the sky.
Sure.
Do you have proof? Do you have proof that they are solid objects?
Not all of them are solid objects. They're gas clouds reflecting light.
What about Saturn, Jupiter, Mars?
Those are made of, Saturn and Jupiter are made of gas. They're gas giants.
Try Mars. What about Mars?
Mars is a big rock like the moon.
What proof do you have? Where's your verification of this?
We could go for other evidence of that, but that's not part of my.
Go ahead. What's your evidence that Mars is a giant rock?
Well, there's lots of evidence that Mars is a giant rock. Like we can measure the radio spectroscopy of the light that bounces off of it to know what it's made of. Like
all lights bouncing off the sky, radio waves. Yeah, okay.
The 9 robots going about on it. Yeah, that one.
Massive lies. So the easiest way is that
Yeah.
when light bounces off an object, the way it reflects off the object is based on the chemical structure, the atomic structure of the particles it's hitting. So like you can test this yourself with any rock anywhere in the world. You bounce a light off it, a laser, or any other light, you can know what it's made of. And then we can do the same thing and look at the light coming from Mars and we can know what it's made of.
So are you telling me that we can know what Mars is made of by bouncing a laser off it?
By the light that comes off it, naturally, yes.
Would I be correct in saying when they landed on the moon, they left a mirror on the moon so as they could reflect a laser back from the moon?
They left 3, yes.
Yeah, does Mars have has somebody landed on the moon and are they reflecting a laser back from?
No, not laser. Any light. Light, just
Any
looking
light.
at it and
So
looking
I
at the
could
light.
take my torch and shine it up towards Mars and I'll know what it's made of.
If you could get the light to reflect off it and come back, yeah.
Exactly. How dumb is that? That's just
Mass
preposterous.
spectrometer.
No, hold on. Let's stick to this point because I want to get to the end of it. So you just said that by reflecting light off of an object that's 50 million miles away, you know what it's made of?
Yes. So when light from the sun hits an object and then bounces off of that object, the light will change based off of the material composition of the atoms that it hits.
So you've done this personally and verified this, have you?
No, because that had nothing to do with the debate today.
Okay. I thought the debate was as to whether we live on a bowl or a flat earth, and it was taking into account all things. I never knew it was singularized to radio waves or...
Well, to be fair, that's just the evidence that TJump brought. He doesn't have to bring every bit of evidence ever because that would be silly. He just brings the specific evidence that he's been researching.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean to say we have to stay singularly on one subject. It can be anything, surely. You know?
Sure, but that doesn't mean that I don't have to personally research everything else that I'm not researching.
Yeah, but you should, because I have. I've done that, you see. Yeah, that's why I know we don't live in a flying spinning ball. You basically are taking the word of scientists.
No.
You're taking the word of all these mathematical formulas that don't comport to reality, and that's why you believe you're still in a flying spinning ball.
Wait, what about my mathematical formula does not comport to reality? So radio waves, we know how fast they move because we can bounce them off buildings. Like we can literally walk the distance and bounce them so we know how fast they move. And we can bounce them off the moon.
185.
So what about that is, what about my math here is wrong? Why does my math not comport to reality here?
Well, there's hundreds of proofs that say we don't live on a globe. So what the hell is what is one proof? Hold on, your so-called one proof against hundreds of other proofs, long distance observations, no proof of rotation, no proof of the vacuum of space, no proof at all that anything's up there.
Okay, Break, I've got to call you out for a bit of a non sequitur there because that isn't TJump's point. You're going, well, you've got that point, but I've got all these other points. That's literally a non sequitur fallacy because that's not what TJump is talking about. The fact is that TJump is talking about something that is impossible if the Earth is flat, whereas all the other things that
I'm
you
being
bring
more specific here. Like,
yeah,
he said that my math does not comport to reality. So I'm saying.
Yeah.
What part of this math does not comport to reality? Which aspect of the numbers here am I wrong about? Am I wrong about the speed of radio waves? Am I wrong about the speed it takes for it to bounce off the moon? How does my math fail here?
So your beliefs are held on by one specific thing, radio waves. That's your belief.
No, this is just a very, very strong piece of evidence that anyone can do.
Oh, it's just one. What's your other one?
There's lots of other ones. This is just
Name
sufficient.
them. Sorry?
Those aren't a part of my argument. This is the one that's a part of my argument.
Oh, as I said, it's a great tactic. Just grab something that you have read up on. You've verified apparently.
Break again. That is what a debate is. You research a specific thing.
No,
and
it's
you
not
come
hanging on
to,
one point, Craig.
Well, no. If that is what his presentation is about, then that is what his evidence is. He didn't bring the other evidence. So you going, oh well, what is your other evidence? Because I've got lots. That isn't what a debate is. The debate is talking about the evidence that he has brought up. Now, he has spent a lot of time answering your questions.
I think I've been on that a while as the radio waves, and we're back to it again. As I said, this is a tactic that
because that is TJump's evidence. That is the evidence that he has brought to the debate to present that supports his position. He didn't bring other evidence because that's the evidence that he is bringing. He could bring other evidence other times, but for this debate, he has brought that evidence to discuss, and you haven't refuted it. Whereas he has refuted the things that you've said.
Can I be allowed to answer?
Yeah, yes, I didn't want to go like.
Yeah, this is where Craig, I appreciate it's a bit difficult, but the point I'm making here is TJump's one piece of evidence has been refuted by hundreds of long-distance observations that absolutely crush TJump.
With respect, you can't refute one piece of evidence by looking at a different piece of evidence. You can only refute that piece of evidence by doing the experiments that evidence is based around and falsifying it. You can't go, well, that experiment's wrong because I looked a long way and saw something else. That's not how refuting evidence works. You can only refute his evidence by talking about his evidence, not other evidence. So
well, is it not like a modus tollens? Like he's got one piece of evidence, so if there are any other evidences that absolutely destroy his evidence, it's game over, and them evidences.
That's not modus tollens, and that's not how refuting evidence works. Okay, you haven't refuted his point by bringing up other things because that's not how you refute a specific point. It's like you're talking about a different thing to try and refute the thing that he's bringing up. It doesn't work. You need to specifically talk about his point and his physics and his maths and how that is wrong, rather than going, oh, well, I can see really far and basically don't understand physics, so what you say is wrong. That's not refuting what he is saying.
What do you want me to say? It's like I'm not going to agree with you at all. Why would I agree with you when I haven't got the data before me? The thing is, there's 50 years. You haven't even presented that data, TJump. All you've done is said that this is how this works. You've not presented any real evidence there at all.
Here's the thing. There's 50 years plus of lunar ranging experiment data that can be looked at, and that entire body of data is what TJump is basing his evidence on. It's not just the fact that he's done it at college and I've done it at separate times and lots of other people have done it, but there is 50 years of lunar ranging data that supports what TJump is saying. He doesn't have to present every single bit of data to you here right now, but he can say to you, well, this data exists and this is the conclusion. What do you say based on that conclusion? That's the point here.
I've already answered that, though. What I said is I don't have that data there. I would need to look into radio waves. I would need to look into how the observation was done, how these things, how they get to the results. So how can I answer something like that?
Well, that's exactly how you would have to actually look into it and say, well, does this evidence disprove your worldview? So it's a good place for you to start. Like, oh, this is a good argument. In order to know how to refute it, I'd have to actually look into it. I don't know how to do that, so I can't really take a position on it. That's perfectly reasonable.
Can I ask you a quick question, Break, then? Assuming that all the data that Tom has presented is correct, because and I can verify that data does exist, but just assuming that it is everything that Tom has said about the distances to the moon, about the way it's measured, and that we know that, assuming that's all correct, what is the conclusion that you would draw from that?
That's like trying to answer something before looking into it. I get what you're saying. I'd need to relook at some of the ideas that I have. If the case is that what Tom is saying is correct, I would need to have a look at some different ideas of. But the moon is very elusive. The moon is. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's overshadowing the sun. It does lots of strange things. Sometimes you can't find it anywhere on the earth. So we're talking.
We always know where the moon is.
Yeah, they say they know where it is, but you'll not be able to find it in the sky. There are
Well, yeah,
nights
because
where
there's
that
particular
moon is,
times. There's particular times where you're not supposed to see it in the sky, and other parts of the world.
no, what is it, over Antarctica the times or something like the only people can see it in Antarctica? Don't be so silly. Well, so what about
Orbital
when it's a
planes
new
would not
moon?
be in alignment, so you wouldn't be able
What
to see it at
about
certain points
when
of the
it's in
month.
are you telling me that you can see it when it's a new moon? You can see a new moon, Tom.
Yes.
That question's to you.
Yes, you can. You can see it with like
Yeah.
better cameras.
Wow. Oh, so me, I mean, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about NASA again. You know,
I
it's
don't mean
going,
NASA. I mean like anything that
Yeah.
has high exposure can see the moon.
yeah,
The moon. You
yeah.
don't need to like literally see it with your eyes to be able
Yeah,
to see
you go and try and look for it when it's totally blacked out. You go
Well,
and try
a
and
new
look for
moon
it.
isn't totally blacked out. That's just the first lunar phase, and it'll have like
Yeah,
a tiny sliver of the moon
there's
that
no
you can
light
see.
coming from the moon at all. When it's going through its final phase, there is zero illumination
Well,
at all.
there is still illumination. It's just very low. So if you have a high exposure camera, you can just point the camera at it, and it'll still be able to see it.
You've obviously never done this, Tom. You're just
Yes,
talking.
yes, I have.
You've
Yes, I have.
captured the moon when it was zero exposure.
It's never zero exposure. Like there's
Where did you
cap?
what part of the world did you capture this in? The moon.
Here's
when
a
it was
picture of the
totally
new
black?
moon taken with a P900.
Yeah, that's got some illumination.
Yeah, that's the new moon.
That's
That is a percentage of illumination that shows where the moon is.
The new moon-
I'm talking about the moon when no one can find it on either side of the world, and it is totally blacked out. I'm talking.
there is no such time when the moon has zero illumination. That never happens.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, Tom, that's just your word against mine. I'm afraid. Are you telling me?
Well,
that
your word against like 7.5 billion people, but yeah, never mind.
7.5 billion people, Craig, have not went out with a P900 and looked for the moon when it is totally blacked out.
So you think that none of the light from that bounces off the earth, that comes from the stars, that comes from the sun, there is a time when there is zero light hitting the moon.
That's if you go on to Moon Giant, you'll see it's zero luminosity. Zero. It's totally blacked out. There is zero light hitting a moon.
Zero photons hitting the moon. Like
Well, now we're getting into photons, Tom. It's just
so-
like Tom. What? Tell the audience what a photon is. Carry on.
particle of light. So
Yeah.
I think what
So-
you're confused
so,
with the luminosity,
if you-
like wait, it's not 0.0000000. It's 0.001.
Yeah, let's test
does-
how clever you are. What's Ice Cube doing down in Antarctica? That's all about photons and protons. What is Ice Cube, the giant thing that's buried in the ice in Antarctica, doing down there with photons and that? You're that clever. Carry on.
Ice Cube, the rapper.
That's what I was thinking. What?
You don't even know about that? Wow.
When
You
did
need to
Ice
get a
Cube
better
get out an
general
Antarctic
knowledge.
research grant?
It's out there. You don't know what Ice Cube is? 1,800 meters, hundreds of columns buried in the ice to
Measure dark
detect-
matter? The measuring of the
Photon-
neutrinos.
Oh,
that
the
are bouncing through
neutrino
Earth
observatory you're on about. Yeah.
That's it. But there's lots of them, but one specifically in Antarctica is called Ice
Neutrinos
Cube.
aren't photons.
Those are neutrinos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Photons, okay, totally different thing, yeah.
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 Yeah. So
neutrinos pass through atoms
back
and
to
break
the
them
back
apart.
to the point. You have not photographed the moon with zero luminosity ever. You've never got a photo of that.
The moon never has zero luminosity. It has 0.0001.
So go out and look for it. When it comes to that stage, find out what part of the world it's in and go and look for it and see if you can find it.
We can do that. Like you can do that whenever it has. Like you should tell
I've
me
done it.
when.
I've done it. I've looked for it. I've also talked with people in America and other parts of the world that
America's
couldn't
not
find
real.
it either.
That's obviously it.
So okay. I would suggest getting a high exposure camera. Leave it there for about an hour, and you will be able to see it. Guaranteed.
Right. Thanks for the advice, Tom. It's like lots of people with a P900 aren't able to find it when it's zero blacked out. That's something you could maybe.
Well, this person
do
with the
for
P900
us.
found it.
Yeah, yeah. That's got a luminosity.
Well, that's the new moon.
Yeah, I'm talking about when it's zero blacked out, you will struggle to find it, and anywhere on Earth, you will struggle to find that. You might get some pictures from NASA or other people, but you know, that Craig, that's got a luminosity. I'm talking about when it's completely blacked out.
It's not the new moon, right?
I'm ready to go to Q&A. This was fun.
Yeah, it was basically you can answer stack loads of points, but you kept coming back to radio waves. I think the audience will
To
see
be fair, Break, he answered literally every one of your points, but you kind of nutted everything he
put us
said.
in a train, Craig. He put us in a train and an aeroplane.
The Earth is a closed system, so we know that. So it is equivalent to a train moving. The wind moves with the Earth's rotation, but it is, you know, on its own vector. But an entire storm system, regardless of what way that's moving, it's still moving with the rotation of the Earth. So, for instance, if a storm system is moving at the equator to the west at 200 miles an hour, it still technically has a tangential speed to the east of 800 miles an hour. It's, you know, all about relative motion. Everything that happens within the atmosphere rotates with the Earth, but it has its own, based, like Tom said, based on temperature and pressure, the air will move up and down and north and south and east and west, but the entire system is still rotating with the Earth because of relative motion. Exactly the same as I was showing, while we were talking, I was showing a video of the bullet trains that Tom was talking about, and you can sit on a bullet train which goes, you know, hundreds and hundreds of miles an hour and balance a coin and a bottle of water, and they do not move because they're moving the same speed as the train. But you can get up and walk up and down that train. So if the train's going one way, but then you get up the train and you walk against the direction the train is going, you're then just moving with the train, but slightly slower. Same as on Earth and weather and everything else. And there was one other point you brought up that I wanted to quickly go over. You were saying about
Hold on, Craig. Can I just jump in there for a second? Not the same as an off, because TJump was saying that put us on a train, put us on a plane. They have a solid barrier wall.
Yeah, so
that is
they're a closed system.
Is 100%. That the off doesn't have a solid barrier wall. It has what you guys say is a vacuum of space next to a pressurized
it has gravity. It is a closed system. A closed system, the same as the train, is a closed system. Cavendish, Schehelian, Pound Replica, the Edmonton experiment of 1919, and the discovery of Neptune would very much disagree with you, because they are 5 experiments that follow the scientific method that experimentally demonstrate that gravity is a fact.
Cavendish has been debunked.
It's never been debunked. It's been misunderstood. Yeah, there's a difference. Right. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to quickly go over with you. You were saying, why doesn't the Earth fling us off yet where a roundabout would? Well, this is the Earth on the left, with the equator a tangential speed of 1,000 miles an hour. And at the equator, you will have a centrifugal acceleration acting on you of 0.03 meters per second squared. This is a little roundabout with a, let's say, radius of 5 meters. With a tangential speed of 15 miles an hour, and you're going to feel 8.3 meters per second squared, which is about over 1,000, way more than 1,000 times more than the centrifugal acceleration you would feel on Earth. So that's why you would get flung off a roundabout and not the Earth. Simples.
It's like if you were thinking about taking a train around a 2,000-mile loop, it'd be like being on the outside of a roundabout thing. You'd feel the same amount of centrifugal force, which is not very much, because the further the circle is, the less change there is. So going in a train that's going in a big circle isn't going to throw you off, even if it's going 250 miles an hour.
Take away the walls of that train, you'll get flung off the train, you'll die. Correct.
Well, yeah, because then you're in the atmosphere.
We're in the atmosphere. We're actually in the atmosphere.
But being right, so Now, if you want to compare that to a train, being in the atmosphere is the equivalent of being in the train, because there is nothing outside the atmosphere that would make us move. Outside of the atmosphere, that there is a practical vacuum, although it's not next to the atmosphere. There is a gradient from 14.7 up to practically 0. So it's exactly the same as being in the train in an enclosed system, because there's nothing outside of that that would drag you away. But if you are then to do it inside the atmosphere, that atmosphere, which is moving at a different relative speed to the train that's going through it, would then create a force that would move you off of the train. But that doesn't exist outside of the Earth, because there isn't an atmosphere outside of the Earth to then drag you away. So both are a closed system, both show the same thing. There would never be a 1,000-mile-an-hour wind.
Faulty demonstration.
No, it's not a faulty demonstration. It's not a faulty demonstration. It's you guys not understanding physics. It's as simple as that.
We're not on a train. We're not on a bus. We're not on an aeroplane. We're in the
We are in a closed system. We are in a closed system, the same as a train or a bus or a plane. They are also closed systems.
Without a solid barrier.
Closed system is a closed system is a closed system. Simple.
No,
there isn't when you look at
pressure gradients is not the same as being inside a train.
Well, inside that train there's also a pressure gradient. Wait. Inside that train there's break. Inside that train there's also a pressure gradient, so that's exactly the same. But when you look at physics, it doesn't say a closed system is different whether it has a physical barrier or not. A closed system is a closed system and will act relative to being a closed system. So
actually,
that's
I'd like to
how you have to look at
this. So imagine there is a firmament, a big dome over the globe Earth, and the dome contains the gas. Would you then no longer be able to feel the spin because there's now a big container around it? Does that solve the problem? Can now we go on the Earth and spin and not get thrown off of it? Would that be fine? Because now it's like a train.
That might be closer to the truth, but we're still not spinning at 1,000 miles per hour.
You're right, we're not, because you don't spin in miles an hour. That's a silly thing to say.
But the speed equals 1,000 miles per hour. The Earth rotates once a day, 29,000 miles circumference. So, 24,900. So that equates to one rotation per day. That equates to 1,040 miles per hour at the equator. So the speed is relevant.
What's that equate to at the poles? What does that equate to at the poles? What's the tangential velocity at the poles?
I don't know. As you get higher up to the poles, it becomes less, apparently.
0 at the poles is the tangential speed. That's why you don't calculate centrifugal acceleration using tangential speed. You use angular speed, and the angular speed of the Earth is 15 degrees per hour, whereas the angular speed of a roundabout is, like 360 degrees per 3 seconds or something. It's very different.
Yeah,
so
and if
you do the calculations for centrifugal acceleration, tangential linear velocity does not come into that calculation. It simply is not the same. Relative motion is something that you guys really need to start trying to understand, because it will answer most of your questions. And I don't mean this as an insult break, but your ignorance of physics is not an argument against it.
I get what you're saying, Craig, but I understand. I mean, a long time ago, you said, right, that our senses are shit. Okay,
they are absolutely. Yeah, our senses are real shit.
What I have to say is that's the problem between pseudoscience and us, because we rely upon our senses. We also
that is pseudoscience, though. Relying on your senses is pseudoscience.
But Craig, if the older mathematics, put it like this, right? This is stupid sounding, but it's correct. If I've got a mathematical formula for a penguin and I show you that and it's actually a polar bear, does it mean?
That's not how maths works. You couldn't ever show me a mathematical formula that would make a penguin a polar bear. That is not how maths works.
Jim Panda said there's mathematics for everything. I said, well, here you go. Here's
everything in reality, yes.
Or
you
can't
just
try math.
But he's
exactly.
right. There's mathematics that describe everything in the universe, but you can't use mathematics to describe things that don't exist or logically inconsistent. Everything in the universe can be described with mathematics, but you can't say, here's a formula to show how an elephant is actually a crocodile, because that simply isn't how maths works. Maths reports to reality.
That's my point. Craig,
Well, your
that's
point
my
is that you don't understand
You can't use
maths.
mathematics to say that the Earth is a globe and
We can when
spins
it
at
comports to
1,000 miles
reality.
an hour when it doesn't comport to reality.
Well, it does comport to reality, and it doesn't spin at 1,000 miles an hour. It spins at 15 degrees per hour. Let's talk about a car engine for 1 second. A car engine doesn't spin in miles an hour. It spins in RPM, revolutions per minute. You cannot measure rotational velocity and calculate centrifugal acceleration using linear figures. It's not possible. It's not how maths and physics works. So everything that you're saying, to steal a quote from Luke Skywalker here, amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
I wouldn't like to be sitting on the head of that piston either at 1,000 revs per minute. I know what would happen.
Yeah, 1,000 revs per minute isn't 1,000 miles per hour. That's very, very different.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is we're not spinning at 1,000 miles per hour either.
You're right, we're not. We're spinning at 15 degrees per hour.
It doesn't matter degrees. It shouldn't matter degrees. It's still speed.
It does matter. It really does matter because you can't calculate one thing with what you're saying.
That to me is just to deflate the argument.
That is an argument from incredulity, though, isn't it? Just that to me, you don't understand it, therefore it's wrong. That is an argument from incredulity.
So can I ask a question that I asked you before? I want to ask TJump this.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
You know how the pilots do the centrifugal training, as in like they've got the centrifuge and they do the training, pilot training.
Yeah,
sorry, Tom.
A big container like for NASA where they put a guy in a box and they spin him real fast.
Yeah. So do you know that they say that the reason we don't feel the rotation of the Earth is that we don't feel deceleration or acceleration? Yeah, isn't it funny that when they put the guy in the training, they actually hold it at 6 Gs. And the guy's face is like this at 6 Gs. They're not accelerating, they're not decelerating. Why is he still feeling that force?
Because of rotation. So the speed he doesn't feel, it's the rotation he feels.
And you're telling us we don't feel any rotation?
Yeah, because if you put him on a big enough thing, he wouldn't feel it. So it's because it's a small rotation. In a small circle, feel it. Big circle, not feel it. So like if you're on
still doing 1,040 miles per hour on
you don't feel the speed, you feel the rotation. So like if you're on a roundabout, you feel the rotation because it's very small.
At 1 mile an hour. Yeah.
Sure. And if you're on a train going 500 miles an hour, you won't feel it even if it's going in a big circle.
That's not true. You would feel the pull outwards.
You would not.
Yeah, you would. Of course you would.
Not.
Yeah, but again, you've put a barrier, solid barrier over, Take them out the barrier. Take them out the barrier. And spinning at 10 miles an hour, you would feel it. You ever been on the waltzers?
If the train was going 10 miles an hour with no barrier, you would not feel the curve. If it was a big circle, you would not feel the curvature.
Yeah, you would.
No,
you would feel that, but let's just accelerate that to like 1,000% to 1,040 mile an hour, spinning round with no barrier. You would fly off, correct?
Not if there was other air around you traveling at the same speed. No.
Hilarious. Yeah.
So you don't feel the speed, you feel rotation.
Hilarious. But you would feel the rotation at 1,040 mile an hour. I think you'd feel a bit more than that.
No. The speed is not the same as the rotation. They're two separate things.
I don't know why you're saying the rotation, because the Earth rotates at once per day. So it's still doing, from that point to return to itself, A to A, is 1,040 miles per hour. Take the barrier off the train, set yourself on that rotation. You would be flying
not a
off.
rotation, that's a constant linear velocity. It's not a rotation, it's a constant linear velocity. It
doesn't matter, Craig, it's still rotation.
No, it's not. The rotation is 15 degrees. This is the rotation of the Earth. Ready? I'm literally spinning right now the same speed that the Earth is. Give me a day and I'll go round.
Go onto that roundabout and spin yourself at 1 mile an hour, going up to 15 and see what happens.
Here's me on the roundabout.
Yeah.
You see the difference? You see the difference there, right?
Listen. You've not been feeling too great. Don't spin yourself any faster than that, because I don't want you falling off that chair.
But you saw the difference there, right? One of those is comparative to the roundabout. One of those is comparative to the Earth. Which one of those two? Which one of those two spins? Wait. Let me ask this question. Which one of those two spins that I did there had the higher centrifugal acceleration? The first one or the second one?
Second one.
Right. Exactly. That is the one where I would feel something. With the Earth, with this rotating at this speed, I'm going to feel 0.03 meters per second acceleration if I'm at the equator of Earth. That is how it works. Centrifugal acceleration is what you feel. You do not feel constant linear velocity.
Yeah, I think we could argue this point till we're both blue in the face. I don't agree.
Every physicist in the world is crying right now.
Yeah, I know.
Right, I think we should probably move on to Q&A then. Thank you everyone for being here and watching. It really does mean the world to me. All the super chats and everything is amazing. I'm going to read out the chats now. So I've got stuff through PayPal and through YouTube. I do appreciate the stuff through PayPal because of the new tax stupid thing. YouTube didn't pay me. Then they took the payment back and then said, oh, we need to readjust it. And then it's going to be 10 working days. So the PayPal payments have really helped at the moment. So I appreciate that. Right, so I will go into my PayPal first and I'll read those out. Tom, thank you very much for taking the time again. You can find links to Tom's channel in the description. You can find Breaking Down the Wall of Lies. Just search for kids videos. Why do you do your videos for kids, Break?
I don't know. It's just I'm not great with all these things. It's just I didn't want kids not to be able to watch it, and I
don't think kids should be able to watch it. Really, that's it's lying to children.
I don't think they should be teaching we live in a flying spinning ball from the age of 4 or 5.
Why should they not teach the truth though?
Yeah, well, I told you that's why I'm here. Truth, not entertainment.
Yeah, but the truth is that we're on a globe that rotates. That's
no
just
proof, no evidence. Come on, Craig.
Well, all the proof and all the evidence exists on our side. There is no evidence that exists for a flat Earth, none at all.
So I keep hearing. Go out and do those long distance observations, people.
Yes. Again, long distance observations aren't evidence that the Earth isn't a globe because refraction exists. It's simple. Just because you guys,
flat Earth exists because there is no curvature.
Flat Earthers exist because the education system has failed many people. Anthony Beavers. Sorry, I probably shouldn't read out your names from PayPal. I'll just say Anthony B. Although I've already doxed you. I'm sorry. 445 says, are all flurfs bots? Please stop. Yeah. So that video that you presented was like every flat Earth point that's ever been presented, just again.
I could have fitted a lot more in, Craig, but it would have went on for about an hour.
You didn't need to, and that will make an excellent video for me to debunk. Just saying.
Thank you.
Tim M for 346 says, Lord of the Rings Pooh, we had a movie about 20... Oh, wait, what's that say? We had a movie about 2020 called 2012 that came out in 2009. Yes, we absolutely did. I think in the future, like 2040, 2050, kids will be sitting down in history lessons and they'll be going through the books and they'll be like, right, so that was 2019. Now, if you just go to the next page, Miss, why does it just go to 2022? We don't talk about 2020 and 2021. All right, we just don't. They won't be in the history books.
Just like Germany?
Yeah. We don't talk about the war. Then we've got Farmer F for £5 says, hope you are good, mate. Keep up the fight, both personal and flat Earth. Good job, TJump. Thank you for your content over the last year or so. Kept me going. I'm glad that what me and TJump and others like us do has kept you guys entertained over this pandemic. Pandemic's actually been good for business for me. What about you, TJump?
Yeah, the locking people in their houses and making them watch YouTube videos does really well for YouTubers, apparently.
Yeah.
COVID was actually designed by YouTubers in China to make money.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all part of the... you're going to have to kill you now, TJump. You know that, right? Robert B. £6.27 says, we're watching... where'd that go? I've lost the message. That message just disappeared. We're watching Breaking Down the Wall of Lies self-destruct in real time. Yeah, thank you very much. Patrick B for 455 says, what is evidence that Mars and the other planets are not what we are told? Break, why do you say that Mars isn't a giant rock?
There is no proof or evidence that anything in the sky, those lights that you see, comets, planets, they're nothing but images. I've already proved that. Things transit in shadows, transit in other so-called celestial bodies, and a little black dot is not proof of anything. I can recreate that with 2 lights on off and give you a 3D image that would fool anyone. So that's all you're seeing up there.
Right, do that. I challenge you to do that. Recreate what you've just said you can recreate, because with a P900 you can take a photo of Mars and Phoebus.
I've got the video there that shows that. I've showed it many times.
But
if you go onto
YouTube,
it's called levitation, and you can grab that video yourself.
So you do know that with a P900 you can take a photo of Mars and its moon Phoebus in fact, you can take a photo of Jupiter and a bunch of its moons with a P900. And one thing that TJump said that was actually a little wrong was that we can't use radar and stuff to measure stuff as far away as Jupiter and Saturn. Well, actually we can and have done. Pretty much every body in the solar system has been, ranged in some fashion or another. And based on the data that we receive back from them, we can quite easily tell their composition. These are sciences that exist. Also, like I said, Mars has 9 robots going about on it, and whether or not you think that NASA are lying or not, that is evidence. Just because you don't say it's evidence doesn't stop it being evidence.
Grainy fisheye lens pictures don't prove anything.
There are evidence that they are on Mars. And the fact that we can track them on the way and stuff. Patrick B 67 pence says, Craig got note about asking for his evidence about Mars, etc. Why can I not read the rest of that message? I'm sorry, PayPal is being funny. I'm only able to read a little bit. And we got Duncan M 455 says, love your content, mate. Any chance of a spanner? I will be redoing all my mods soon, so hold on for that. Dominic A, $5 says, simple reminder that today JM Truth, the film mailer, blocked you. Yes, he absolutely did. Right, that's all the stuff in PayPal, and we've got super chats. Sleepy Dan says, citations please, and your incredulity and YouTube are not peer-reviewed citations. Area 85 restoration is $10. A large portion of this presentation is debunked by the simple fact that NASA is not the only space organization. Yeah, Break, are all the space organizations throughout the world all in it together?
Absolutely, 100%. You only need to look down to the Antarctic Treaty, how many of the countries that are all to
Wait,
do with
the Antarctic
space.
Treaty isn't in space. I'm talking about all the space agencies, not the Antarctic Treaty.
The point I'm making, you'll find all the major countries, Russia, China, Israel, every one of them are all to do with the Antarctic Treaty to stop people going there, are the same people that are to do with the space agencies. 100%.
Not every country is part of the Antarctic Treaty. The Antarctic Treaty does not
countries,
stop you.
60 countries.
Yeah, there's 185 countries in the world, I believe.
Yeah, the rest of them don't really matter. That's like talking about
of course
Zimbabwe.
they don't. That's literally a no true Scotsman fallacy. But and also, you can go to Antarctica. Sometimes you have to ask the permission of your country because it's dangerous, but you can go to Antarctica. There is nothing stopping you as a Scottish citizen getting a kayak and fucking going to Antarctica and then walking across Antarctica the whole way. You will die because it is the most inhospitable, barren desert on the planet. You will die. There is no point going there. But there's nothing stopping you.
As I said, when you look down there, what's happening in Antarctica, they're all stripping their clothes off, jumping in the freezing cold water, snow sledding, having great fun. It's so dangerous. Watch out for the killer penguins.
That's round the edges. And certain times of the year around the edges when it is summer in Antarctica, you can do these stupid things like jumping into icy water. I mean, in Scotland, that's like a thing they do every 1st of January. They literally jump into the ice lakes, which are kind of, we're not that far away from the Arctic Circle ourselves where we live.
I think that's more.
If you go, no, it's literally done in the Firth here. But if you go to Antarctica and you be there during the harsh winter months, and then you go inland, away from the shore, away from the warmer weather, you're going to die. It's simple as that. Unless you are protected up to the eyeballs, you are going to die. You do not want to go to Antarctica. Nothing's stopping you doing it, but you will die.
Just remember, 5,000 research staff there every year. It's so dangerous. Yeah.
And it is very dangerous. A lot of them die. So Sleepy Dan $5 says, Break, who made your intro video for you? I highly doubt you wrote that and explains the text to speech.
I asked NASA for a bit of help. Rob Simmons.
Yeah, Rob said he wouldn't help you. Good friend of mine. We keep him in the bunker down here. Addison $2 says, breaking down the wall of lies by lying. Neato. Adam Lord, £10, thank you. Addison $2, we know the Earth rotates at 15 degrees per hour. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, thanks, Bob. Emmanuel Davis, $5 says, where is Red Rhetoric to shut this man down? Break and Red Rhetoric don't like each other. They can't be in the same room because things start exploding. Joey Martins for €1.99 says he sings 1,000 miles per hour. Toby, €2, is this Flat Earth's final form? No, Flat Earth's final form is Witsit Gets It being arrested at Mount Rushmore. That was fucking hilarious. Please tell me you've all seen that. You've seen that, TJump. He was just there, like, spouting his nonsense about the government being evil and everything and causing a nuisance. And the police were like, you need to stop. And he was like, fuck you, you can't tell me what to do. And they're like, okay, you're getting arrested. Brilliant.
Yeah, Ken Hovind actually just got arrested too recently.
Yeah, the same day as Witsit, actually. Domestic abuse, that one, I think. Fucking horrible.
Yep.
Alison says, Break, why is all navigation based on a globe?
It's all based on the constellations. They haven't moved for
No. Navigation is based on a globe. All modern navigation is based on a globe. This is a fact that isn't just arguable. So
if you flatten that globe out, it works on a flat map too.
And then you don't have accurate distances, so you cannot do accurate navigation on a flat map.
You just bring in more lines to go out to the edge of.
Yeah, so it's not accurate. The only accurate map is a globe. So again, why is all navigation? All modern navigation planning is based on the globe. And as a sailor who has sailed around the world, I can confirm that I use the globe to plan my navigation. And so does every single pilot that does long-distance flying.
There's about 30 documents from the government that say that the Earth is flat. And
no, there isn't. There isn't a single document. There is documents that use a flat, non-rotating Earth as a simplified model for modeling certain things, because it's easier to remove extraneous variables that you do not need when doing simple modeling. None of those things say that the Earth is flat, and if you read them, they mention things that do not exist, like a non-moving atmosphere, a rigid body aircraft of constant mass. These are things that do not exist, just like the flat Earth. Alison for $5 says, if you researched everything as you claim, why is all navigation based on a globe? You can't make excuses now because I will call you on your lies. Well, he just said he doesn't believe it is based on a globe, but Break, navigation's based on a globe. This is just a fact. Kirk B, $5 says, sorry, I can't PayPal fight. I think Break is broken. Maybe there's hope for Break. Have you watched Mr. Sensible's full video yet?
I started watching it the other night. I've not got through it all, but I do intend to finish it and get back to Mr. Sensible on it.
I can't wait to see
I do
you
want
on
to say,
this channel.
Break is nice. He's a pleasant guy to talk to, so I definitely think he's a good guy overall, better than most of the other flat earthers I've talked to.
Yeah, thanks for that, TJump.
You're not a Nathan Thompson, that's for sure.
Yeah, thanks for that, TJump.
CMX Play, $5 says, breaking down the wall lies plan succeeded. His plot this whole time was to render us all brain dead with his stupid statements. He is a genius. Good job, Break. Well done.
Thank you.
Or Simon Dan, should I say?
No, evil twin.
I think you are Simon Dan, and this is just you playing both sides.
Right, okay.
Simple. STE £2 says, Biggie and Tupac are on Antarctica too. Okay then. Kingy Edwards the fifth for $5 says, I have a pic of the complete new moon. How do I share a link, FTFE? you could pop it into my Discord or send it to flighttheflatearth@gmail.com. Thank you. Alison, for $2 says, your problem is we have measured the Earth's rotation. Yeah. What do you say about the fact that we've literally measured the Earth to be rotating at 15 degrees per hour then, Break?
Well, you see, the degrees would throw people off. The truth of it is, if you're, I mean, I have to keep saying it because I can't get away from this point. If you're at the equator, you're spinning still at a speed of 1,040 miles per hour. So all this tangential
but that's been measured. That has been measured.
And linear
though,
speed, yeah, it's still 1,040 miles per hour. And
yeah, okay, and you're right. There is, at the equator, a tangential speed of like 1,040 miles an hour, right? But that's been measured. We know it's that. So what do you say about the fact that it's been measured?
I would say that they're just measuring the speed of things in the sky. That's all, not the Earth. It's not moving.
Yeah,
the Earth is not moving.
None of the measurement methods look at the sky.
Yeah, I would love to have a look at them. I'm gonna, Craig. Before this debate with TJump, I was looking into quite a lot of things in depth. That's what I do plan to do. Is go back to the drawing board, have a look into. I'll be looking into radio waves. Hopefully, I can give TJump an answer on that. And when I do find what I'm looking for, I'll definitely get back to you, TJump. The same with everything. We need to, if we want the answers, go in deep. Just keep researching, look through
and
all
study
the
physics.
Stuff. Yeah, physics is not easy for some people, Craig. Though, you know.
I know, but there is some basic physics that all flat earthers should learn, like the difference between tangential and rotational velocity, how to calculate centrifugal acceleration, things like that.
Yeah, I would like to say
though, what 8 inches per square mile actually means and stuff.
I would like to say, Globals, you need to do a chemistry 101 because that'll teach you about density. Okay, so you don't need gravity.
Yeah, chemistry doesn't deny gravity. In fact, many of the all the formulas in chemistry usually take gravity into account. You know, my wife's best friend is a doctor in pharmacology, and you know, she thinks flat earthers are extremely dumb, and trust me, she knows her chemistry.
Actually, I'd like to ask a break about the density thing.
Yeah,
if we have a vacuum, like on Earth, we build a vacuum container and we suck out all of the air, and then we put in like water or something, why is it more dense on the bottom of the container than the top of the container?
I don't know. I've looked at, so I don't know about the water side of. I've never seen water put in a vacuum, or is it not? Would water not boil in a vacuum?
Yeah, it would turn into gas. So it's any gas. Anything you put into the container that's a vacuum, it's going to be more dense at the bottom of the container than the top of the container. Why is that? Because if density, it shouldn't be. If it's just density, it should be the exact same everywhere in the container. So it seems like there's something weird going on because...
Well, in a vacuum, it's like there's less to even prevent things moving down. So would they not be at rest even more so inside a vacuum as opposed to outside it?
Yes, if it was just density, then there should be equal pressure everywhere, but it's not. For some reason, after we create a vacuum and we put in the gas goes to the bottom of the container.
Yeah, but it's the container. The container caused that. Sorry.
So why is it?
I'm not sure about the water one, TJump. I have seen in a vacuum a couple of things done, but I've not really looked into it in great detail. I would need to go and look at that again.
Yeah, the question is about, because if density is what's causing things to fall, for example, then if we put all of one substance into a vacuum container, then the density anywhere in the vacuum container should be the exact same, because the density of everything in the container is just that one substance.
I get what you're saying.
But it's not. For some reason, there's more density on the bottom of the container. And if we flip the container upside down, then the density goes to the bottom again.
Right. Okay.
So it seems like there's something else in addition to
density. Would that not simply be exact same? If you're pulling out at the end of the day, right? Density is to do with something being heavier than the medium that surrounds it. So if you pull out all the medium, of course it should be more at the bottom, correct?
Why?
because
then
there's
you're
actually
filling it up,
nothing,
though.
there's actually nothing to resist it.
Yeah, but
So
then
why is it
you fill
going
up.
down?
Well, the same as me and Craig spoke about, right, with a pen. If you hold a pen, the only way that pen is going to move left or right or up is if you exert force on that, if you give that energy. So the only place would it not be crazy that if this thing that has weight, which I say molecular density, was not to come back down like that, we'd all be like, whoa, what is going on here? This is crazy. But it does exactly as we expect it to do. It falls, you know?
Yeah, but why do we
And
expect it to
why
fall?
does it fall to the earth? Because it has nowhere else to go apart from because the air around it is not going to support it. When I let go of it, it's going to go down.
Why down and not up, though?
Because, Craig, we would need to exert force on it to move it upwards.
What,
Right, but
why
if we're in a vacuum, there's no pressure on the top and there's no pressure on the bottom or the right or the left. So
Yeah.
why would it go any direction?
Any direction. Are you on about gas?
Anything. You put a pin in a vacuum chamber. Why
Yeah,
does
but
it always
if you
go
put
down?
a pin in a vacuum chamber, right, and it's at rest, it's not going to move. It's not going to start to float, is it?
Right. So imagine we just put a pin in and let it go. Why does it
Yeah.
go down every time?
So
Why is it?
because again, the same as if you're outside a vacuum, it's only got one place to go. It can't float because it's not lighter than the medium that's surrounding it. And in a vacuum, you're actually pulling out any form of obstruction.
Yeah, but why does it go down and not up,
all
though?
the medium is pulled out. So the only place it can go again is down.
How does it know to go down and not up?
Right. We pull out all of the other stuff in the container, and there's only just the pin and
Yeah.
the vacuum in the container.
Yeah.
And it goes, for some reason, every single time the pin will go down. And if we flip the container upside down, it'll still go down.
Yeah.
How does that know? How does it know inside that container which way is down towards the earth?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying there. But even although you're flipping the container, the medium, there's still no medium. So it's got to go. Of course, it's doing exactly what the physical laws make it do. It's
Yes,
resting
the
on
physical law of gravity, you're right. The physical law of gravity is what makes it go down.
You see, that's where I would say, TJump, have you ever considered this, right? This might sound foolish, but if you take a flat surface, okay, and you take that and rest it on a flat surface, if you fill it with water, okay, what does it need for that water to stay on at rest? It doesn't need gravity. The weight of the water will keep that in this object.
Because
Weight is
gravity's
gravity.
pulling it in one direction. Like if you put it in a vacuum, like in space, it wouldn't go up or down. It would just sit nowhere because there's
But
nothing around it.
if you think about it, right, on a flat surface, you don't need anything to keep the water in. Like a swimming pool, I use an example as a swimming pool. If you fill that with water, gravity is not required. You have the water at rest. It's contained on each side, apart from
Because
the
of
top.
gravity, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The water has weight. Water
Because of gravity,
has
yes.
weight.
Yeah,
What
because of
is
gravity.
weight?
Well, you see, that's where I believe, and I think studies. I was reading a white paper recently, and the chap
Elon
that
Musk.
is sorry.
I hope it wasn't Elon Musk's white paper.
No, it was an independent researcher, and he was looking at molecular density as every molecule contains what you guys would say is gravity. It's contained at a molecular level.
Yeah, that's not how that works in the slightest. Molecular density has nothing to do with something's weight. And weight is a function of gravity, as simple as that. You have a mass, i.e. the amount of grams that you weigh, and the weight is the grams times the downward acceleration of gravity. You can't have weight of any kind without gravity. It's as simple as that.
TJump, have you got your email on your channel?
Yeah.
Right. What I'll do
TJump.com.
is when I've read through the rest of the white paper of that independent researcher that's talking about molecular density and that being the same as the gravity that people are talking about, I'll send that paper to you and you can have a read at it if you want.
Sure.
Okay.
Right, okay, moving on with super chats. We've got Toby for €2 says, is this Simon Dan? Pretty much, yes. Indie Tiger for $10 says, every time you say roundabout, I think the traffic circle type, not the merry-go-round type. Yeah, in Britain, roundabout means something different to in America, you know, because they can't speak properly.
Craig, you know they're trying to remove all the roundabouts now, so his children can't be shown how ridiculous it is about this spinning at 1,000 miles per hour.
No, they're not. They've just built new roundabouts in my village.
I can't find roundabouts anywhere.
You're not looking very hard. Oh my god! Like if you go to the main park in Fife, there's like 5 or 6 of them. I mean, anyway.
I'll need to come up there. I'll need to come up there to do my experiment.
Eon Dust, $10 Australian says, like PhD Tony, I also find TJump sexy because of his intelligence.
Thank you.
Well, I personally find TJump sexy because of his chair.
I get that a lot.
Tim Tully, $5 says, photos from the telescope observatory are slightly better than the P1000 and go back to the early 20th century. Christopher Mendez, $5 says, it will be impossible for a flat earther when humanity becomes a spacefaring species. I can't wait for the flat earth meltdown when people land on Mars. Here's my prediction for Mars, right? In 500 years' time, we're living on Mars, quite happy. There's going to be a group of people that are like, fuck you, you're all liars. We never came here in rockets. Mars is obviously flat. Look, we live in a dome. I mean, they're kind of be right because we will be living in domes. But, you know, flat Mars.
My prediction for Mars is, why don't we just say we went there, show some pictures and not really go?
Because going there is probably a good thing for humanity because we fucked this planet and we need another one.
So we can fuck that one too, pretty much.
Yeah. Toby for €5 says, oh, by the way, it's my birthday today, so have another 5 years. Thanks for endless hours of entertainment. Sorry, PayPal's broken. Toby, happy birthday to you, you awesome person. Congratulations on another safe trip around the sun. Indie Tiger for $5 says, the polar bears will protect us from the penguin army because they are polar opposites. Boom. Mike71 for $5 says, the Earth rotates 0.006944 RPM. I know, really fucking fast. Kirk B, $5. What about the guy that almost made it across Antarctica? There's quite a lot of people that almost made it across Antarctica, and some of them are still there because, you know, it's really hard to go and get their bodies. Tim Pryor for $5 says, flat earther, longitude and latitude work perfectly. Also flat earther. Earth has never been measured. Good fucking point. King Edward V says, I sent you an email of the new moon for this Sunday. Break. One of my subscribers just sent me this picture of the moon that was taken with 0 luminosity.
Was that from the other night?
Yeah, that's from this Sunday.
Right, okay. Where was it positioned, does he know?
King Edward V, would you mind letting us know your location roughly?
Yeah,
just type it in the chat.
Just interested, yeah.
But yeah, that was this Sunday. So
yeah,
nice.
Thanks for that, yeah.
We've got Area 85 Restorations, $5 says, why does breaking down the Wall of Lice say about the recent manned Blue Origin launch and the Virgin Galactic launch? Obviously he thinks they're fake somehow, but how were they faked?
No, I think they've went up there above the surface of the Earth, probably about the height of, I don't agree with the heights either. I don't think anything can get above about 150,000 feet. So their heights are completely off. They're just in it for the cash. They'll do anything. Yeah, they'll do anything for the cash.
Yeah, they don't need the cash. They've got like most
showing...
of the world's money. What we're seeing is the world's largest dick measuring contest in history. And I'm not kidding because Jeff Bezos literally went up in a penis. So... and then we've got Cornish Lols, who became a new member. Thank you very much. Let me just check PayPal, make sure no more come in from there. We got one that says, damn, it really is Simon Dan's evil twin. Yes, he absolutely is. Well, that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Sorry, go on.
Is that because of his voice or because of what he looks like?
He looks like Simon Dan.
Simondan's much fitter than me. I mean, as in he does the running. So yeah, I'm a bit older now.
This is Simon Dan from the future. He became a flat earther.
I've came back to tell you guys the truth. Yeah, came back.
King Edward V says he lives just south of Pittsburgh, PA. So,
right. Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah. Cheers.
yeah, thank you, King Edward. I appreciate that. Time travel. I think I've cracked it. Right. Bear with me here, TJump. Right. But so we get a wormhole. Right. That's easy. Right. We just get a wormhole, but we take the entrance to one side of the wormhole, and we go around the Earth at near light speed, and come back to the place where it was originally. Then we've got a wormhole with an entrance and an exit that are at different points in time.
Can't have a wormhole.
Is this quantum mechanics?
No, that's just relativity. So,
Okay.
you know, I've just cracked time travel. We just
Bending,
need a way to travel the
bending
speed
and
of light
warping
and a
of
wormhole.
space-time.
Yeah, definitely. And that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Now, remember, you can find TJump's channel, link in the description. You can find Breaking Down the Wall Lies. Just type in Breaking Down the Wall Lies. You'll find him in the kids section on YouTube for some reason. I've had great fun tonight. TJump, thank you very much for coming along. Breaking Down the Wall Lies, thank you very much for coming along as well. It's been a decent conversation, not too dumpster fiery. So that was nice. Any final words from you, Break?
Yeah, big shout out again to the live Discord 2.0 on YouTube.
That I'm banned from.
If you want to go there and argue that the Earth is a flying spinning ball, tune into that. Flat Earth Discord 2.0 on YouTube. Yeah, thank you.
And any final words from you, TJump?
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Nice to be here as always. Thanks to Break for being a nice guy to chat with. I guess, yeah, I do see the Simon Dan in him. You should totally get me an autograph. I would appreciate that. See you guys later.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Craig, for having us on.
No worries, always welcome.
Better. Yeah, and nice to meet you, T-Jump. It was a good discussion. Thanks.
I am going to put in the chat now a link to MC Toon's channel where he is currently starting his own Flat Earth debate. So if you could all do me a personal favour and go over and give MC Toon a like and a watch. That's been it for tonight, guys. Thank you very much. Look out for episode 60 of Thrust at Idiots coming very, very soon. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the Flat Earth. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight.